Toronto Wolfpack's hunt for a first Super League win brings them to the Halliwell-Jones Stadium. Their task is not an easy one. Standing in their way tonight are the reigning champions, St Helens. It's already been an eventful start to round 5 of the Betfred Super League. Castleford went top on Thursday with a win over Hull Kingston Rovers, and last night Leeds thrashed Warrington 36 points to 0. Coming up on Sunday, Huddersfield take on Wigan, Hull take on the Dragons, and Salford take on Wakefield. Champions St Helens could go second with a big win tonight, whilst a victory for the Wolfpack would lift them off the bottom of the table at the expense of Hull Kingston Rovers. So, will we witness Super League history tonight and a first win for the Wolfpack, or will champion Saints bounce back from their World Club Challenge disappointment last week? It's a chilly night at Halliwell-Jones. Let's get down to pitchside where Brian Carney is with Jenna Brooks. Yeah, thanks to Jenna and Brian for braving the elements at pitch side. Let's have a look at the teams then. We will start off with the Wolfpack. 2 changes for the side that lost at Warrington last weekend. Brad Singleton's got a long-term knee injury. Greg Worthington also misses out. Gadwin Springer, though, is back after missing out last week. And Wigan loanee Jack Wells will start live with Toronto on the bench. Tony Gigo then at fullback. Liam Kay, Blake Wallace, Ricky Latelli and Matty Russell make up the back line. Gareth O'Brien moves to half-back to partner Josh McCrone. In the front row, it's Sidlow, Ackers and Springer. Williams and Thompson partner the former Saints great John Wilkin in the back row. On the bench, Mullally, Albison, Maludi and Wells. The Toronto coach is Brian McDermott. For St Helens then, they were denied narrowly by the Roosters in the World Club Challenge last weekend. They go with 16 of the 17 that featured last week. Regan Grace is back after missing last weekend as Matty Costello drops out. Wellesby then at fullback, a back line of Makinson, Nagama, Bentley and Grace. Johnny Lomax and Theo Farge at half-back. Up front, Wormsley, outstanding last week, joins Roby and Thompson in the front row. Taya, Peru and Knowles lock up the pack. And on the bench, McCarthy, Scarsbrook, Lees, Paulo and Smith for the coach Christian Wolf. There is the St Helens coach Christian Wolf going very, very strong this evening as the teams come out. James Roby leading out St Helens, continuing his comeback after injury at the start of the season. And Saints will be looking to leap up the table here tonight. There are tough conditions at the Halliwell-Jones, but the Saints fans come here in great hope that their team will bounce back from last week's disappointment. Pleased to say, join us in the commentary position tonight, Tony Ray and Brian Carney. Tony, I think we're all a little bit surprised with the strength of this St Helens team. No let-up from Christian Wolf. They want points tonight.
Well, it's important they respond now and don't just work their way through the season. It's also a compliment to this team. Okay, they're the promoted team without any victories, but they know they've got some potential. They know they're building, as John mentioned pre-game, as Brian mentioned, sorry, pre-game. They're a side that, on their day, are going to cause some trouble, some upsets. We've got a cold night, we've got a windy night, anything could happen. Conditions, you know, it's near enough to a home game for St Helens. It's around the corner. We are in Warrington, so I guess that makes it a decision for the coach to go with, to feel it's not that big a trip and not too much to put on his senior players, Brian.
It has been a tough start, Brian, hasn't it, for the Wolfpack fixtures-wise? But as you mentioned earlier, they are growing in confidence, I think, each week.
Absolutely right. I got a quick word with Christian Wolf just after we went down to the sideline there. He said, if we're serious about doing anything this year as a team, and everybody would imagine St Helens will do something, he said we need to be able to back up the World Club Challenge and come and take on a dangerous Toronto Wolfpack side and make a statement. That's the reasoning behind picking this strong side. He said, we're going to be faced with incidents and situations like this throughout the season, and I want to see what my guys have got about them.
That's terrific insight, Brian. I think that's really important for the coach. We're talking about momentum. You don't always build momentum in the big games. In fact, you really build the starch in your team in a game like this. You know, we've just played against a team in the Roosters that are the first team in over a quarter of a century to win back-to-back titles down in the NRL. They've played really well against them. Now they're playing against a team that hasn't won, have just been promoted. Now that is a real test of character for this Saints team.
Well, we're about to get underway. St Helens will get proceedings underway. Marcus Griffiths, the referee this evening. And we're live at the Halliwell-Jones Stadium. The Saints will kick off then. The Wolfpack, who were competitive again here last week against Warrington, well, they allow the kick-off to bounce. Not the ideal start as Gadwin Springer brings the ball forward into a three-man tackle. Just in front of his own posts, Liam Kay will jump in at dummy half as they look to work forward with Sidlow. Made his 300th career appearance last weekend. Very much a veteran now, Sidlow, as he plays the ball to Ackers. Wilkin moves it to McCrone already. Gigot gets his hands on it out wide here. Wallace needs to stay in the field of play. Good defence already from St Helens here. They've got the Wolfpack penned inside their own half as Springer again carries forward Wormsley, who was outstanding last week.
You're going to see a pattern of play repeated and repeated by the Toronto Wolfpack. They're going to shift the ball, Mark. It's what they have. They don't have big men in the middle. They won't be able to match St Helens there. Expect plenty of ball movement for as long as they can.
Well, here's McCrone, who will kick high. It's a very windy evening at the Halliwell-Jones. It's taken by Makinson comfortably on his own 10. What's the chase like? Not too bad. Having not caught the kickoff on the full, they'll be happy with that set.
Yeah, they did exactly as Brian asked them to do. They moved the ball around. It looked a bit iffy early in the sets, but they got some rewards. Tony Gigot came up with a lovely run late in the set. The wind is heavily behind Toronto in this half, so they should be able to dominate that field position. They'll be looking for a low error count and make it really tough for Saints to come out of this end.
Makinson carrying again, second time in this set, as he will play the ball just outside his own 40. Roby goes down the short side. Bit of a wobble there for Morgan Knowles, but he takes it in. Conditions tough for the players tonight as Wormsley ploughs the ball forward and over the halfway line. Saints go. Last one. They'll go to Farge. A little chip over the top. Trying to get in behind the winger Russell. He'll know this ground well. Now, was that a knock on? It was. A nightmare start for Matty Russell, former Warrington Wolves player. There was not much in the kick there, but he's let that through his legs and knocked it on.
Now, a player of his ability would expect to deal with that, notwithstanding the fact that, as you say, it is greasy. And he'll be one of the danger men that St Helens will have identified before the game. His kick returns are exceptional. And the Toronto Wolfpack, we're relying on Matty Russell to get their set started. So, big disappointment for them, and they come under intense pressure from St Helens early in the game in a really difficult position to defend.
Yeah, Farge waits at first man for the ball, and he gets it. An army of red and white shirts outside him. The ball moved quickly to Bentley, who made his first start at centre for Saints last week. He's there again tonight. Christian Wolf showing faith in the former Bradford Bulls man. Ball here with Wormsley, who is Saints' top scorer early on in the season, but he's not going to get over this time. Just in front of the post, Springer makes the tackle. Roby looking around. Dummies to his right, goes to his left, and he's held up. He's stuck on 98 Super League tries. Roby was hoping to nick one there as Wormsley goes to Farge. Short pass here to Bentley, but it was a forward pass. And they will be happy there, the Wolfpack. They've defended their own line at the first time of asking.
Yeah, and they look happy. They look together, and it's it is a forward pass. It's cleverly ruled from the touch judge. Sideline official gave the nod to the referee. Disappointing there for St Helens. You know, you're thinking they'd be looking to really put the foot on the throat in this game early on. That was a moment for them. They had to really capitalise on that opportunity if they're going to back up with the same team. they have to be really ruthless in those moments, not come up with an unforced error like that.
No, and have a bit of patience building yourself into this game. Look at the weapons they have on their field. Alex Walmsley, who I thought in that World Club Challenge was brilliant. I thought he terrorised the Roosters, and I don't care what anybody says. Alex Walmsley was outstanding, the best forward on the field. You take both packs. So they got him, they got Luke Thompson, and they got Matty Lees to come off the bench. So a bit of patience. They've got all the weaponry there. They don't have to win the game in the first 5 minutes.
No, Russell will be happy to get that carry underway, having dropped the kick through earlier on. Sidlow with a good carry forward. Gets Toronto edging away from their own 20. Wilkin gets the ball to McCrone here now. Good hands on this near side. Gigo into the line. Passes to Kay, but it's over the sideline. Well, if you're going to gamble inside your own half, those passes need to stick.
Absolutely right. This is going to be repeated for the duration of this game. They have got no other way of playing. It's an attractive game to play. But if you come up with errors like that, it's going to make life difficult for you. I don't think they've got a default setting. I don't think they can go within their shell and knock out complete sets and sort of strip down the game down to its basics, Tony. I think it's going to be this way or the highway.
That's a good error in its own way, if you want to say that. However, it's not a good error because Matty Russell dropped the ball the set before. So they needed to make sure they got to a kick on that. But it was just a bit of two minds from Tony Gigo. Let's not overthink that. He had an opportunity out wide. He threw a dummy, it closed, and he just... the pass wasn't on as he expected it. Saints go here. Can they capitalise this time?
Well, here's Thompson carrying the ball forward. He's wrapped up just outside the 40. Roby again probing on the front foot to Farge, to Lomax. Will look to take on the line. He's brave, Lomax. He's wrapped up by Sonny Bill Williams. Roby will make the tackle. Here they go down the short side. Zeb Taylor, very much in the twilight of his career, but playing in some great form at the moment for Saints. Is wrapped up. Roby will come in field, ball taken forward by Walmsley. Wilkin against his former teammate, and then Springer comes in to complete the tackle. Last one then here, Roby looking to his left. He'll go to his left now. Fires with a little dribble kick, bounces up, bounces back into his hands, but he's knocked it on, and that will be the turnover on the last tackle.
Really good chance missed on the inside. Great run from young Jack Wellesby, the fullback, trailing on the inside. Is what you want your fullback to do. Lomax wasn't, or Fage wasn't aware of it, didn't look up for a pass, but a great try opportunity for St. Helens had he picked up Wellesby.
And this is now a vital set for the men in black, the Toronto team. Back-to-back errors. They need to come down. They've got the wind behind them. They need to keep it simple, get out of here, and get a long kick in and put some pressure back on St. Helens. They will not wear much more pressure. Really important set.
O'Brien playing at half-back tonight for the Wolfpack. Ball comes forward here with Latelli. He drives his way forward. Strong man, Ricky Latelli. He's brought down. Now they come forward here with Wilkin to McCrone. They're attacking this edge again. This time the pass is to Kay, but Kay puts it down on the grass. Well, the top scorer for the Wolfpack won't be happy he didn't take that one in. That time Guijo found his man. Ball on the ground.
Twice now the link between that man Kay and Guijo. Kay's been in front of him. He's not reading it. He's not running. He's not running his lines off Gigo. He's not running the lines off the bloke inside of him, the centre. So he just needs to get a little bit more depth. This man is actually on trial for a month, paying for nothing. He's just come into the team only there last week. So the combination hasn't quite been made yet.
Would you look at shift there, left to right shift now? There's a couple of times they fancy that. You got Ricky Latelli sitting on the other side of the field. I mean, he's the centre I'd be trying to get the balls in the hands of.
Yeah.
But having said that, like, he was in space K twice. Yeah. So the strategy's working. They just have to execute it. The plan's right.
Well, here's Farge now. He's got Taylor on his shoulder, gets the ball away. Again, Springer, some good work early on defensively from him. 12 metres out off the Toronto line. Saints looking for their first points. They move the ball back to the middle. Here's Thompson. What a shot from Gadwin Springer. We mentioned his defensive effort. That was out of the top drawer. But Saints are knocking on the door. Here's Lomax. Big step. And he ducks inside. And the dam breaks. Johnny Lomax opens the scoring underneath the post. 3 successive Wolfpack errors have been punished. And it's Johnny Lomax who dives in for his first of the season.
Yeah, it's been coming for a while. John mentioned the set before that there was an inside holes opening up in the Toronto defensive line. And these are the things when you come to Super League and you get repeat sets. You've got to keep making the efforts there. The big play from Stringer wasn't rewarded because the next play, they were a bit lazy on the inside. Lomax just bounced off his inside foot. It was Stringer he went past. Just watch the inside, back over the ruck. It opens. They're going sideways. People weren't ready. Big hole, well read by Lomax. But it's from there that these defenders around the ball making the tackle. These are the guys that aren't going to make the tackles when the try most count. They're walking, now they're reacting. Wilkin it was. Wilkin caught up, passive at marker. That's what's hurting them. They're just missing some moments on repeat efforts after two things, I guess, is the number of errors.
Yeah, Tommy Makinson stood right in front of the post. We'll look to add the extras here. Simple kick for him. And St Helens already 6-0 in front. Well, we saw last week, Brian, Toronto got off to a poor start. They can't keep affording to make these simple errors, can they?
They make life difficult for themselves, but that's really a brilliant player and a guy who's really influential in that almost comeback against the near comeback against Warrington last week, John Wilkin. He's putting off surgery to play in these games. Toronto Wolfpack need bodies. John Wilkins put his hand up, but he clocked off at marker there. He assumed the ball was going to go wide and didn't do his defensive duties, and you're not got a chance to do that against St Helens. Clock off for a second and you will get punished.
Yeah, deep kick. Oh, that's bounced in the field of play, has it? No, it's going to be a penalty to St Helens. Well, I think they're going to check that. That looked quite tight on the back line there, Tony.
Let's see how good your eyesight is. It's out.
It's out
it's
on
penalty.
the line.
Penalty St Helens. You can see why he wanted to refer it. Yeah, that's on the line.
So it will be a penalty on halfway. We mentioned that strong wind earlier, Tony. Well, it's only an advantage if you use it correctly.
Well, you've got to go back and say it's a bit of a dumb play to put the ball that way. You've got a big wind behind you. Don't chance it going high. Like, given the... Gee, they're putting some pressure on themselves. Big set now, both teams. St Helens' chance to really go hard here. Back to back really changes the ambience in this contest.
Here's Thompson, follows up Walmsley's charge. 3 men in at the tackle to put him down. It's been a tough opening 10 minutes or so here for the Wolfpack. Ball now to Lomax, drops it back for Teyer. Teyer is wrapped up by Williams. McCrone is also in there at the tackle. But Saints already in good position as Bentley carries it forward. He's wrapped up. Ackers and McCrone in at the tackle. Here now is Roby, jumps out of dummy half, gets the ball away. Here's Thompson with a chance. Can he get the arm free? No, he can't. It's a good one-on-one tackle by Bodin Thompson. Last one, they're going to spin it right. Now they go out the back. Here's Welsby. Welsby will just take it forward. He can't get the ball away. And Toronto, having just come up with another error, Brian, will be happy this time their defence held firm.
Yeah, I'm just questioning Jack Welsby's decision. Obviously, he didn't fancy tipping it on just an extra pass. I mean, St Helens last week against the Roosters created plenty of chances out wide, didn't capitalise on those. And I'm just wondering if Jack Welsby had a chance to just let that ball go and let the men outside him make the decision on whether or not anything was on.
Yeah, or even put one on the ground, just a little grubber into the end goal and make Toronto make that extra effort to recover the ball. Force efforts out of them. They got them on the ropes a bit at the moment. Comfortable set down there for Toronto. They're going right as you've asked them to do.
Well, Gigo that time, not the best pass. O'Brien felt the tackle there. He's playing at half-back tonight, O'Brien, and he rather slow to get to his feet. Latelli into the action, runs over the top of Farge, who just held up the big centre. And interestingly, they've gone that way after a couple of errors on the near side. Again, the kick is arrowed downfield. They could do with this stopping. That's a better kick. And now they'll have to bring it back off their own try line. Here's St Helens. The chase needs to be good. And it's not too bad. Grace wrapped up eventually just outside his own 20-metre area.
Challenging them well, though. Grace could have easily just gone centre field and took the simpler option, but he's just stretching the Toronto side. And no matter where you are defensively, you're going to get questions asked about you. It takes a little bit of juice out of your tank. Mentally, you're exerted as well.
Crone's having to do a lot of defending on this near side. They're spotting him early as Walmsley up the middle, Sidlow and Wilkin, and Springer again flies into the tackle.
You mentioned McCrone, but he's got Sonny Bill inside him, and I think they may be seeing both those guys as there's trouble.
There's trouble for Toronto as Lomax put Teyer through a gap. Last one, Roby, just 20 metres away. Will swing it now to Farge. He's going to come back down the short side. Kay on the back foot. Ball batted back. It's play on. It's picked up by Gigo. And in the end, Toronto survived. But early signs here that they're wobbling, already 6 behind. And at the moment, despite that strong wind, they just cannot get out of their own half.
No, they can't do this. They're being physically out-muscled, but they're just a bit tired. Here's a good escape route. They're going to keep pushing it. They're one pass away from getting free there, but well done, St Helens. They're picking that. They're going wide, so the outside backs aren't giving them the sideline. They're rushing up and putting them under pressure.
Well, Latelli gets the ball. It wasn't the best pass from Kay, but he slips it back inside to Ackers. But 4 tackles in. They're still not 20 metres off their own line at the moment. As Sidlow will carry it forward. They'll need that big win here to get them down the other end, as Bentley did well to back that ball back in field. But the last one, McCrone will move it. Now, are they going to run it? They get it out wide to Wallace. Here's Kay, last tackle. And for the 3rd time, Liam Kay has had the ball. It's ended with Toronto turning the ball over inside their own half.
There's always that temptation, isn't it? Just keep going through with the play. You've thought about it. This is what we're trying to put on. Well, he's just walked him over the sideline there. He's made it too easy for Bentley. Bentley's got that covered the whole way. I think maybe Blake Wallace, who's not a natural centre, has got to make an assessment there. You're just really walking Kay over the line if you give that pass. That's the tuck and go, cut back inside, or run overs and drop Liam Kay back on the inside. That comes with combinations, and that comes with time playing in centre and wing. And they haven't had that so far.
They haven't. Saints on the front foot very much at the start of this one. As Thompson knocks Ackers over and out of the way, but Ian Thompson doing some good work in the middle of the park there, the back rower, as the ball moves now to Farge, gets it to Wellesby. Wellesby's wrapped up, good tackle around the legs from O'Brien. But already here, Saints are inside the 20, and they drive it forward with Knowles. Strong carry from him, really strong young man in the Dream Team last year. And he'll play the ball now to Roby. Roby gets it to Wellesby, drops it back for Nagama, steps past one, but wrapped up. Good legs tackle by Wilkin this time, but defenders on the ground. The ball comes free, and it's knocked on by James Roby. Well, we can't really question at the moment, Tony, the goal line defence from the Wolfpack. They're having to do a lot of it, but they're doing it pretty well.
Yeah, and you've got to make sure. That's why it was disappointing when I think, yeah, really good work, good pressure on Roby, Fujigo at marker there. But in a wet game like this, you wouldn't want them to come through you. Make them force the ball through your hands. Really difficult conditions. So when Lomax strolled through for the try, that was the disappointing thing for Toronto. What they did really well in that last defensive set was kept that middle locked up. And again, they've got to grind their way. A lot of action out the back of the attack. We just feel like they just need to put their heads down and really a couple of drives to get out of here. Just a little bit of power.
Wallace is wrapped up. Our stats man, Ian Proctor told me just the 2nd time in his Toronto career that Wallace is lined up at centre. It's needs must here for the Wolfpack. Again, they're deep in the tackle count, and they're deep in their own half. They need to get the ball further away. Sidlow will pound it forward again, but he's wrapped up readily in a 3-man tackle. And again, the go forward is not quite there for Brian McDermott's side. They're going to go back here. Bit of a juggle from Gigot. Gets it to McCrone. McCrone needs to offload. He does to Gigot. Gigot away. Can he put Boot on the ball? He will kick him behind Grace. Gigot is after it. Wellesby will dive on the loose ball. Well, he's come up with a couple of errors, Tony Gigot, but that was by far and away his best involvement in the game. He thought he had a knock-on, but it's a penalty. Toronto just had their best set, have really come up with an error at the end of it.
Well, it looked like it was going to be such a good end to that, didn't it? Tony Gigot, was a break from Josh McCrone, finds Gigot, puts the ball on the boot, and followed up it with a good tackle on Wellesby. Now, Gigot was claiming Wellesby knocked the ball on. The referee deemed to have well, I'll tell you what, I think Gigot's he's hard done by there. I think Wellesby's probably lost it on impact with the ground.
Massively did. I thought the set before, 2 sets before, they were unlucky not to get a penalty. So that's what happens when the scoreboard's against you, the momentum's against you. The referee starts seeing other things at different times.
Just give one mention to a player you've referred to already, Morgan Knowles. What he went through in the pre-season to get himself ready for this part of the season, knowing that the World Club Challenge game was coming up. Operations on both of his shoulders. He could have delayed it, had one operation, recovered from that and had another one, but he would have missed the World Cup Challenge and missed these earlier rounds. So he got both shoulders done at the same time. Of course, difficult to do anything with both shoulders in cast. He said the help of his girlfriend and the physio at St Helens meant he was able to get back out on the field quicker than expected.
Well, here comes Toronto. They're firing in here. Wilkin goes upper body. Eventually the tackle is made, and Saints just inside the Wolfpack half are going to go back to Farge, who will kick towards Russell again. Gigot is back, picks it up on the bounce, brings it forward. Nagama went in with a big shot there, and they're making Gigot work hard early on here.
Yeah, very much so. You can see the Toronto side's taking a little bit of time going back. They do chance their arm. They do keep playing the style of rugby league that they really want to play. working for them in some ways, but it's also hurt them with a number of errors.
Well, it has. It was the offload there from Russell. Kay is sat down as he runs into the shoulder of Zeb Taylor. Ball comes forward here with Ackers. Here now is Mullally, who's on off the bench. So an early change for the Wolfpack. Wilkin gets the ball away now. O'Brien, quick hands. The pass so surely from Latelli was a forward one. And the Saints fans who've made the trip here enjoyed that. Well, you mentioned going to that left-hand side, Brian, but Latelli's got to do better than that.
Well, I think he's under incredible pressure, isn't he, from Tommy Makinson. It was a shift with, you're expecting an awful lot from that centre. No matter how talented he is, it was going to be difficult to get that ball away and make sure it didn't go either into touch or go forward. I do want to see him with the ball, but with a bit of space and a bit of time to make a decision. And perhaps he's done it already once and a half. Pick out somebody like Teo Faz, run at him. You know, make him tackle you, or perhaps run over the top of him if he's even better.
The problem is good teams like St Helens don't give good players time on the ball, and that's been proven so far tonight. Just the early try then from Johnny Lomax. Goal by Makinson is the only points we've had. Makinson is tackled 40 metres out. Here goes Thompson again. Good defence from Sidlow and Mullally. Roby then to Lomax. Lomax turns it back to Zeb Taylor. He's wrapped up by Williams. And the tackle made 25 metres out from the line. Saints with Wormsley, already got 3 this season. He's thrown to the ground by Mullally. Will play the ball now 10 metres out. Roby to Lomax. Lomax going for the line. He's brave again, but wraps up just short of the try line. McCrone with a good tackle, and Lomax slow to his feet. Roby will swing the ball in field to Teo Faz. He's coming back down the short side. It's a charge down by McCrone, who does really well to pick the ball up and slips it away to Kay. Well, they determine when they can to play, and that was great work from McCrone. And now Toronto will get a penalty.
Yeah, they've kept the tempo up and they've forced the penalty with that. It was terrific play. It was a charge down from McCrone. That's acceptable. Dives on the ball. Good work from Kay to be pushing up with him. That's the energy they need around the ball. A bit of time to breathe in, get themselves organised. Nice work from the skipper, McCrone. He talked to the team, got their heads nice and clear, didn't rush the kick. This becomes a very important set. Great work, Sonny Bill, putting his hand up to take the first carry and hold it.
Well, he offloaded 9 times last week, and he's offloaded on the first tackle and lost it. He's picked up by Bentley. Huge error from Sonny Bill Williams, and it follows up with a penalty.
And nobody's made more errors in Super League this year than Sonny Bill, as he feels his way back into the game that he grew up playing. I've no doubt we're going to see the best of Sonny Bill, like Brian McDermott says, later on in the year. But he does like to try and promote the ball, we know that, but with that comes errors at times.
He does, and now the ball driven forward again by Saints, who are knocking on the door. They fancy more points here as Roby swings the ball to Fage, gets it away to Knowles. Knowles bumps off Wilkin. Tackle is made. Wilkin went back for more, but the tackle made just a couple of metres out here. And Saints are on the try line. They're going to try and power their way over with Thompson, who edges his way, just inches away from the line. He held onto it, and we'll have to play it now for Roby, who goes back. Fars swings it to Lomax. Lomax with a step, taken down 5 metres away from the line here. They're asking big questions here. Fars thought about the big pass, instead steps off the right foot, and Williams is there trying to make up for his earlier error with the tackle. 2 more to go. 1 more to go for Saints. They're going to swing it down this near side again. Lomax has gone through, missed tackle, and a second try of the night for Johnny Lomax. Deja vu for the Toronto defence, and Lomax at the double. Toronto 0, St Helens 10.
Yeah, it is deja vu. Lomax using his footwork, so important in these wet games, particularly against the middlemen. Back end of the sets, tired, sort of anticipating a kick, hoping for a kick, just gets flat-footed there. Mullally not really got his body in front of Lomax to be able to shut that down. On the inside, Walmsley was pushing up. It kept Sonny Bill away from making that tackle. Made the opening. Lomax got the sense to get through it.
From a St Helens perspective, it's the best possible end to what was a scruffy set. There was a couple of darts from James Roby, and Teo Faz at times got the ball. Didn't look like he had a play on. So for Lomax to step back inside and capitalise on some off Toronto defending is a good end to what wasn't the best of sets.
10 points to 0 and a kick to come for Makinson. He made the first one comfortably enough, and this one shouldn't pose too many problems. Lomax with his first 2 tries of the season, although he has been outstanding man of the match at Hull. and against Salford in week 1, so he has had a really strong start to the season. Here's Makinson then. Looks up, the Saints fans in the background. We'll get a good view of this one, and it is Toronto 0, St Helens 12. And well, if Brian McDermott's looking at this, Tony, he's looking at the errors, and here's another one.
Yeah, absolutely. You can picture this style of play and the sun on your back over in Toronto mid-season really working. These are really difficult conditions. And the forward, they're just making too many errors, you know. Look, to be honest, it's been a poor start from Toronto. You can't get around too many errors. They're a bit unlucky when Gigo got penalised down on the line. It was the first chance to actually, there was an error force. It was their first chance to maybe put some pressure on St Helens and maybe stay down there for 4 or 5 minutes and start building through the game. At this point, you know, it's been all St Helens field position. Toronto haven't at any point been able to put any pressure on St Helens' defensive line.
And I don't know that that's in them. I don't know that they have that reset button that they can say, listen, let's grind out the next few sets and work our way back into this game. It's only 12-0. You're playing against arguably the best side of the competition. It's by no means a disaster for Toronto, but I feel in attack it's just going to be everything or bust.
Well, Wellesby made a good run earlier on that was not spotted. The Toronto defence certainly spotted him that time. He was hit hard as Roby on halfway will go to Farge, who again just arrows the kick in behind the winger. And Gigo wanted to let that go out, but it wouldn't go out. And even the littlest things are going the way of St Helens here. That kick looked destined for the sideline, and a bit of a breather for the Wolfpack, but it wasn't to be as Russell carries the ball forward. Again, he was looking to turn and offload. Well, they say never let the ball bounce. He didn't have much choice there, but it didn't bounce in his favour, did it, for Gigo? Kay brings it forward.
Sorry, but as Brian said, you just got to hang in there now. When you see a ball bounce like that, you can't let it think, oh, this isn't our day. You've just got to hang in there and wait for the ball to bounce your way. You put in the right positions, it will do that. This is the character you've got to have in Super League to keep driving through these tough positions.
Here is Williams. This time he wraps the ball up firmly in his grasp. Last one. Ackers jumps in at dummy half, gets it to Wilkin, who's going to kick left-footed downfield. He'll find the grass and it'll roll away. Will it bounce all the way out of play? No, Makinson will have to bring it back. And Makinson is tackled by Bodine Thompson and Tom Albison, who's come on.
It's a good kick and a good chase. That's great length, John Wilkin, on that one. Followed up with a good chase, and now you just want to make sure you don't concede a penalty. Trap him in here. Just get ready to get into a grind if you can.
Race is wrapped up. Missed the World Club Challenge defeat last week, as there's almost a missed tackle. Bentley showing his agile feet there to get through the line. As far as was that a high shot? No. He gets up. They're tough, these little halfbacks for St Helens, as Roby jumps his way through the defence and over the halfway line. Last one. Lomax jumps in at dummy half, will get the ball away. Wellesby will dink it over the top. Gigo will have to come and get it. Bounces up kindly for him, and then it's another really poor error from the fullback. Well, he only made his debut last weekend, and his trial, you'd have to say, is not going too well at the minute.
Well, that's not a whole lot more you can say to that, Mark. That's almost an unforgivable error there. I mean, there was no deception in the ball. Fingertip control wasn't even needed. That was an easy pouch for. He's a talented player. We know he can play with the ball. It's well within the capabilities of Tony Gigo. In fact, anybody playing Super League will pick that ball up. But considering the context of this game, the conditions of this game, he's got to be so much better than that. He's now invited St Helens down in to a great attacking position. There's a try. There you go.
And another missed tackle sees Bentley stroll in. He'll not score an easier try in Super League than that. It's his second of the season. And Bentley just ghosted his way through, and Gigo's error is punished with a try. Third of the first half. It's Toronto 0, St Helens 16.
And it's the tempo of the run from Bentley. In the game, you could see an error like this happen, and you take the throttle off a bit yourself and think this is a bit of a slow, sticky game. They've got some space. Lovely ball. He just hits this ball hard. Just hits it and accelerates and just... in a yawning gap. There's a worry that the defensive line opens up that easily, but he does accelerate hard there. Footwork's been the key in all three tries. They've been able to go at the line. Lomax and Bentley. Lomax twice, Bentley this time. Just a nice little bit of footwork, nice low centre of gravity, and driven hard at the line.
Bentley, who scored in the win at Hull in Saints' last league outing. That was in victory, and you'd have to say With 27 minutes on the clock, that's the way it could be going today. St Helens with Makinson underneath the crossbar. Couldn't have wished for 3 easier kicks. It's an awful night for kickers, but he'd take these every day of the week. Right in front of the post, and, well, Brian, your namesake Brian McDermott, he won't be happy with the ease of those 3 tries that Saints have registered here.
No, defensively been really off on those. Tony Gigo's mistake doesn't automatically give St Helens a try. The ease with which they've peeled through here, you want to be working as a unit in defence. They weren't doing that. That's far too easy, and that's frighteningly easy, actually. If you're Toronto's side defending a scrum, you get set, you get time, and you allow James Bentley to go through with barely a glove laid on him. That's just not good enough. Brian McDermott, I would imagine, would be absolutely furious with that.
The ball just blown off the kicking tee. We'll see Toronto in action again on Thursday night. They go to Headingley to take on the Rhinos. The Rhinos will be buoyant after their win last night. That's on Sky Sports Arena from 7 on Thursday. And on Friday, Warrington, can they bounce back from that disaster at Headingley? They take on Castleford, who at the minute are top of the Super League table.
The return of Brian McDermott to face the Leeds Rhinos. What a story that's going to be.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Very interesting. Probably more so off the pitch in many ways. Brian, I don't think happy when he got shown the door at Leeds. Ball comes forward here then with St Helens.
That's Luke Thompson. Just thought he's had a real sneakily good game in the middle there. He's squeezed 8 to 10 metres out every time he's carried the ball in contact. It's been noticeable. We won't go from the field probably in this half. He'll just keep powering away. It's been very, very impressive start from him.
Yeah, just got a knock on the head there. I think he was maybe expecting a blow of the referee's whistle. He didn't get one. And the physio will attend to him as Roby now kicks downfield. This goes in behind Gigo. Will be praying this ball rolls over the in-goal line. It will, and it'll be a 7-tackle, 20-metre restart.
Yeah, they're just going to challenge Toronto, aren't they? Lob it down there. Either try and force an error, or there might be an unforced error, and get them to bring it out of a bad position. Let's hope Zeptea's okay. He's an integral part of this St Helens side. We see him at the bottom of the screen there, so he looks like he's okay. Physio's left him. No doubt they'll monitor him for the next few minutes.
Well, Toronto were 22-0 down here last week against the Warrington Wolves. They managed to level it up at one point before they lost that game late on, but they're taking on the champions St Helens, who are showing no sign of easing up at the moment. Wilkin gets the ball away to McCrone, turns it back, taken forward by Williams, and again 3 red and white shirts wrap up the big man and put him to the ground. Acker's out of dummy half, gets the ball away to Wilkin. Wilkin, short pass on the inside to Gigo. That was better. O'Brien with a pass. Just outside the 40. They'll play it again down the short side. O'Brien turns it back for Bodine Thompson. He's wrapped up by Peru. And this is the last one. They're going to see what they can produce here. Wilkin gets it away. Here now is Gigo. They're going to run it out wide. A chance here for Wallace, but he's gone to ground and the arm hit the floor, and that will be the turnover. And another set that hasn't ended really on their own terms.
Well, it was, because that's what they wanted to do. The whole team lined up. You can see Wilkin actually called the ball. He pointed to the players out the back. That's totally what they wanted to do. Usually when you see a play like that, we'll go back to Blake Wallace's inexperience in the centre. You see a lot of Brian McDermott's side, the centre would kick when they've gone wide, so you're drawing the outside defenders up and then you're putting the ball in behind. I thought it looked a nice opportunity for that, but Wallace didn't execute the kick.
Always St Helens then, a 18-point lead, and looking for more as Roby, who continues his comeback after injury, looking to get more minutes into his system as the ball is taken forward there by Lees, who's on off the bench. Roby again out of dummy half, tries to brush off Hackers, gets the pass away to Fars. Fars gets it away here, they swing the ball out wide, they've got the numbers. Nagama cuts in, driving to the line, he's wrapped up 5 metres away, and Toronto are holding on here. McCrone literally holding on there. The last one, Farge going to kick the ball towards the post. Wilkin will catch it, offloads it to Gigo, and they survive again, the Wolfpack. But St Helens just asking more and more questions.
They did, and it was some beautiful answer from Matty Russell on the wing. He had four attackers coming at him. He just held his hips. He kept himself in shape, waited for the inside blokes to come, and it confuses Nakam, and then they had to go for the run. Beautiful defence, Matty Russell. Try saving.
Yeah, 8 minutes to go here, and as it stands, St Helens going to be leading at half-time for the first time since round 1, when they were well in front against Salford by 18 points to 2. They've been behind against Warrington, Hull and the Roosters.
Sorry for jumping in there. Really interesting. Latelli coming over to the other side of the field to get some ball off Sonny Bill Williams. So mixing it up nicely. You know, we asked him to go to the left to find him. He's moved over to the right where Blake Wallace was. And it's a clever tactic because they were getting joy down the right, so put the trump card over there.
Well, they kick over the top. This is a decent kick. Well held by Wellesby. Had to play at that as well. That could have been a potential 40-20. Wellesby returns in. We saw that a lot of Wigan. The back line certainly were moving around. They were very fluid. We saw Maludi popping up on either side, and Brian McDermott quite happy to move his troops around.
Well, absolutely. I'm looking at a 17 with Tony Gigo in there and Hakim Maludi. I'm thinking you could get anything from a pair of Mavericks that Brian McDermott has at his beck and call. John Wilkin flies in to try to shut Bentley down.
Well, look at that. Bentley evaded Wilkin, and he also evaded the follow-up as O'Brien with a little bit of niggle on the floor, and the referee's not having any of that. And again, Toronto, their ill discipline is the problem. Wilkin came out of the line and missed early. But O'Brien just holding on too long, and Saints already on the move. Up to the 40-metre line they go.
Hold traffic.
Morgan Knowles goes for a breather. Joseph Paulo comes on. Here now is Lomax looking for the hat-trick. Moves the ball to Zeb Taylor. Taylor offloads it back to Bentley. Bentley steps, going for the line. Brought down by Wallace.
Move now!
Gigo again,
Back
screaming
foot,
for a knock-on. I think Bentley could be... Is he hurt? He is. And he's thrown the ball away, and that is not a good sign for the youngster James Bentley. You could see on his face, he looked in absolute agony there, and for him just to throw the ball on the floor. Let's hope this is not as bad as it would appear on first glance.
I mean, I'm looking at that left leg. Did it buckle underneath him as he was pulled down?
On that line for me, okay?
Just have a look here. It looked like there was an exertion on the knee.
And there's a big divot there, isn't there, Brian, underneath where his knee landed.
There you go, his left leg, left ankle getting treated by the referee, by the physio.
Okay.
Well, let's hope he is okay. There was a bit of a yelp there, I think.
Thanks,
and he's
mate.
in trouble. Bentley's signed from the
anyway.
Bradford Bulls. A back row and a hooker by trade. He's playing in the centre. That's how talented this boy is.
So we just have a look here now. That's, oh no.
Right, John.
Yeah, that's his left ankle. Just got caught underneath him. A lot of weight coming down on him. Not only the player's own weight, but the opposition players. And
well, he's going to stand up on it at the moment. Well, we only admire the bravery, don't we? Every week in Super League, you can only admire it, but that was a tough one.
Absolutely. I admired him last week. He asked to play in the centres against the Sydney Roosters. I think it was Joseph Manu he went up against as well. I mean, that's a formidable centre to be defending against when you're known predominantly as a utility forward.
Well, he's going to have to leave the field. Sadly, it didn't look good, and his reaction said he knew instantly, and they're going to take him off over on the far side down the tunnel, and that's a bit of a blow for St Helens.
Just want to see what they will probably do now. We have an option to have Dom Peru in the centres if they wanted. You know, Louis McCarthy's got a bit more mobility about him as well.
Zeb Taylor's filled in there a couple of times as well. It's his left centre. So they've got some options there.
They have. We'll have a look at that one as Bentley goes off, and Morgan Knowles' breather was a short one because he's right back out there.
Tackle 2.
Well, it might be Zeb Taylor. Joseph Paulo's on the field, so we'll see if Zeb Taylor, after playing this ball, slots into.
Time back up.
And here we go. Morgan Knowles is going to play centre.
Well, they get the ball here, St Helens. We're back underway. 6 to go to the break. They lead 3 tries to 0 early on here as Roby now goes to Farge out the back. Here's Lomax again, looking for the hat trick, but he's denied. With the tackle made 6 metres off the Wolfpack line. They'll go back in field here. Farge gets it away to Paulo. He offloads the ball to Lees. He's wrapped up, thrown to the ground. Last one, Roby right in front of the post. He's looking around. Where's his option? It's to his right-hand side, and Farge, a little chip kick. He's going to ask the winger to come and get it. Nagama lost that ball forward, and that will be the turnover. Not probably quite as much depth on the kick as maybe they needed there.
He's ruled the other way. He's ruled the Toronto player diving on the ball here. Let's have a look at this. He's not seen that as a knock-on. He's seen this as a knock-on, dragging it forward. So it's going to be St Helens lose some feed. Looks like Nagama's got a fair case to have knocked that on over the back of his head. So again, luck against Toronto.
Yeah, it is. And, well, they can't argue with that. The scrum's been given. They've got to defend it. They didn't defend the last one. Here now, Farge to Lomax, turns it back inside here, taken forward by Knowles. He's wrapped up. Another big set here just before the break for the Wolfpack to survive. Good defence on McCarthy Scarsbrook, who pumps the legs towards the try line. He's wrapped up and forced on his back just off the try line. Roby waits, swings it right now. That's where they're going. Here's fast stepping this time. Wilkin wrapped him up but didn't get the ball, and far strong for such a little guy. He's wrapped up a couple of metres away. Roby to Paulo, gets it away now to Lomax. Here's Zebtea trying to get on the outside, offloads the ball back to Lomax, but Williams makes the tackle, and they get being dragged all over the show here. The Wolfpack, they need to hang on for 2 more. You feel they surely can't go 4 tries behind. Lovely offload finds Roby. Roby will find Lomax in that exact area. Pops the ball off. They've got numbers on the short side. Taya going for the line. I'm not sure he's got this down. The referee says he's held up. Real good scrambling defence on the line. And it had to be as well. It's McCrone who somehow has stopped that try being scored.
What brilliant defence. What outstanding defence. They got 1 more tackle to defend now.
Well, here they come back down this side. Knowles is going to put the boot on the ball. It's picked up by Gadwin Springer, who's out there.
There's been a seismic change in this defence from the Toronto side. It's all come from the marker area and in around the ruck. They are working hard for each other now. They've got into a... unbelievable defence from McCrone. Great scripper's knock. He definitely held him up. It's outstanding. But the Toronto defence is really aimed up. They've smartened up and they're making some efforts.
Tony, if they go in at half-time 18-0 down, considering the mistakes that they've made, the unforced errors that they've made, I don't think they'll be overly disappointed. They tried to throw the ball around. We've seen them create a couple of opportunities, but they've been their own worst enemy for most of that 40 minutes. So to go in just 3 converted tries down isn't the worst result for Toronto.
Absolutely, because they can change the rhythm of that. If you're Brian McDermott, just saying, well, let's give them a different game next half. Let's make them tackle us. Let's not come up with these errors.
Well, that's another error from Gigo on his own 30-metre line. And now they give away the penalty. And you wonder just before the break if they may nudge this over for a 4-score lead. Well, the ball turned over and they've been punished several times here, and they are going to take the 2. And sensibly so in the conditions to make it a 4-score game. Should Makinson land the spoils here. He's 3 from 3, all from in front. This one is in front, but 30 metres out. Slightly more difficult given the wind conditions.
We know he's a very competent kicker, isn't he? But you're right, it is swirling out there, and probably hard to convey sometimes just how cold it is out there and how wet it is and how greasy the conditions are. And that can be a leveller at times. Toronto certainly haven't played the conditions well, though.
Well, the errors have been poor ones. I think that will be the thing that will hurt Brian McDermott, Tony, that the errors that... I know you said you want them to promote the ball, you want them to chance their arm, but was there that much on for that one? It just looked a high-risk play for a low-risk reward.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes it's pushing it, it's forcing it, it's just looking for a play rather than earning the play, and there's a difference when you're playing that style of football. You can't push it, you've got to earn it. I think the other thing, you can't discount if you're going to do that. You have to be prepared to be absolutely rock solid defensively. And the fact that they've gone through them 3 times, we're not talking about run around tries in the corner or shorter numbers. We're just talking about little clock offs of efforts. Now the reason you clock off an effort is you're tired, you're making errors, you're not owning the field position. So it just sort of compounds.
Well, here is Makinson then, eyeing up the posts. 3 from 3, will he turn that into 4 from 4? He sends the ball confidently through the posts. Well, no Lachlan Coote with a goal kicking at the moment for St Helens, but Tommy Makinson is proving a very able deputy. And Toronto now find themselves really up against it. They trail St Helens by 20 points to 0.
They haven't given themselves a chance, really, have they, to test whether or not St Helens are physically and mentally fatigued from the World Club Challenge exertions. Those errors that they made, those basic errors, inviting position, field position to St Helens and pressure on themselves. They just haven't given themselves a chance to try and turn the screw, turn the tourniquet on the Saints.
Here comes McCarthy Scarsbrook, runs at Gadwin Springer, but in Thompson comes in to complete the challenge. 30 seconds left to the break. Saints just going to continue doing the basics well and get through to half-time. I'm sure Christian Wolf will be delighted with this opening 40 minutes so far. And this side needed a big win to go second. Well, you'd say they're well on the way to a big win so far tonight.
Thank you.
All coming forward here with Zebtair, who's shaken off that knock he got earlier in the half.
Go.
And this will be the last play of the first half.
Play
The
on.
ball
This
on
is
the
0.
ground though. Albison, the hooter goes in the background.
Running.
He's dropped the ball, and that will be half-time here at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. Theo Farge being one of the key protagonists here. Tony Gigo's had 40 minutes to forget. Well, Sonny Bill Williams is chatting to James Roby. Williams with a couple of errors himself. So half-time then at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. Lomax with a double, and James Bentley have got Saints well in control. Toronto 0, St Helens 20. Been first half to remember for the Wolfpack, behind by 20 points to 0. A double for Johnny Lomax, and James Bentley with a third try. He's since left the field and highly unlikely to return tonight. Makinson 4 from 4 with the boot wraps up the scoring. It could be a tough old second half this. The conditions not the easiest at the moment, and the wind in the favour of St Helens in the second half, Brian Carney.
And I'll go back to what Christian Wolf said, Mark, pre-game. He said if we're going to do anything this year as a side, and he'll emphasise they will do something as a side, they're that good, he wants to see a determined performance here. I don't think he's going to be happy with them falling over the line against Toronto tonight, particularly from this half-time position. I would expect foot on the throat, and I would expect them to look to pile on the points.
Well, John Wilkin has got a smile on his face, but you can see the wind whipping across his face. There wasn't much to smile about, Tony, in that first half. What do you think Brian McDermott will have said at the break?
Well, he's obviously kept them calm. They've come out there with their eyes up and they know what they have to do. So that's a terrific sign under pressure, and that's what they want to be working through. You know, they just need to get some field possession and ask St Helens some questions, and they've got to earn the right to do that. And that comes down to, you know, put yourself in good positions. It's okay to shift the ball wide as long as you land in a good position to put a nice kick in. You know, field position, you know. So they just got to get their rhythms right. But above everything, I just think they've got to tighten up their middle defence, their marker plays, their little effort areas. That'll make a huge difference to what St Helens can produce.
Let's find out as the second half about to get underway. And the kick low, trying to surrender the breeze, is caught on the full by Farge. He brings it away. McCarthy Scarsbrook has lost it. So a big error. Oh, it's a penalty. The referee has said that the ball was stripped out, and Gadwin Springer can't quite believe his luck.
I think that's harsh.
Yeah, it's John Wilkins' left hand. He's not really stripped. Let's have a look at this. No.
You're gonna try and grip somebody, don't you? You're like...
They've had some tough calls, and there's been some important tough calls just at moments when they're just trying to get back into the... Another loose ball, another penalty. Let's have a look at this one.
Back-to-back penalties then. Thompson is just inquiring here.
His hand was tangled up in that one. That one's fair enough. He's not allowed to be pulling his arm out of there, and he did actually strip it. So that's a penalty. The one before wasn't.
Away from the ball.
Seeing from pitch side that James Bentley is out for the night. I think we all expected that when he went off. We can only hope that the longer term prognosis looks a little bit better. But
if Toronto keep coming up with these errors, 2 penalties in this set, they'll be able to play with 14 players. One rotation.
Ball is just over the 40-metre line. Taylor will play it, gets it away. Here's McCarthy Scarsbrook, runs at Gadwin Springer. Springer makes the tackle. That spells with the Dragons and at Castleford, of course. Ball now moving wide. Lomax moves it out on that far side. Taylor again with a carry. He's wrapped up 10 metres off the line. Well, tough start here for the Wolfpack as forward comes Paulo. Bumps off Springer. Looking to get the pass away, have to succumb in the tackle there, 10 metres out on the last one. Roby right underneath the crossbar is looking around. He's going to come to the right-hand side. They're moving it here now. Wellsby with a little kick through, and it's pounced upon by O'Brien. He's used to at full-back, diving on those loose balls. He's playing at half-back tonight, but he showed his experience there to pick up the ball.
Yeah, we've been asking Wellsby to make better decisions on the end of those shifts, and look at Tony's referred to maybe a little chip over the top or dinking behind the line. Hasn't quite worked for him thus far. His idea was right, his execution wasn't the best. He needs to challenge the Toronto side a little bit better defensively. But I'll say this about Jack Wellsby. People at St Helens, people that know rugby league players and know good ones, rate him very highly. And with Lachlan Coudade injured, he's only going to get better with all this experience he's getting, both in the World Club Challenge and in the Super League.
Here's Macron, gets the ball away on that far side to
10
Wallace,
metres,
who's
Paolo.
had a tough night, I think it's fair to say, at centre.
10,
But
come on.
he's got a penalty
Miles
here. So a third penalty in only the 3rd minute
What
of
you
the
need?
second half. Lomax penalised on this occasion. As the ball kicked into touch by Gigot, and
Get
it's
outside,
out on the
John. Come on,
40.
mate.
So a chance, Tony, here for the Wolfpack to start the comeback.
Finally, here we go. Nice carry from Sonny Bill. They're only 20 out, 30 out.
Hold, go.
They'll get to the back end of this set in a dominant position. Let's see what they have.
Here's Holberson, takes it forward. He's wrapped up 25 out. Roby in there with a tackle.
Hold, go.
Ackers jumps in at dummy half. Wilkin short to Springer. It went
Ball
behind
back.
Springer. Oh, no, it didn't. And that is deemed a knock-on. Well, you
Shot
said they
clock.
get to the end of
On-
the set, Tony.
on the line,
They
guys.
didn't. Was that a
Say
poor
Alex
pass
got
or a poor
fault.
bit of skill from Springer?
Poor pass.
Well, you know what? It's an interesting
Back,
one
back,
there.
there we
I
go.
think if he hits Springer, Springer's in front of him.
I know you just need
I think Springer's timing off that wasn't brilliant, and that's maybe, I don't know whether that's John Wilkins' fault, but I think that's probably a step too far for Springer.
Well, it's an
It was
error.
a poor pass.
Yeah. Poor pass for different reasons.
Onside, ball
So
in.
the ball goes into the scrum, and Saints, I'll say survive, but they won't put under too much pressure as Makinson comes forwards.
Hold.
Tommy Makinson being great with the boot tonight. Will he get a couple of chances with the ball in hand? As the ball forward here. Good
Nice defence. Yeah, great defence. Need to back that up now. Just get up there hard now. Get up hard, Toronto. That's
Thompson
better.
has been pretty good, hasn't he, in the back row? Albison and Wilkin in. Spring around the legs.
Hold. Go.
With Roby then. He's going to kick here and look to use this wind. Now he's got the ball away, but he hasn't quite got the angle. Gigot will get back.
Tackles all,
He
James.
looks to offload. It wasn't the best pass to Russell, and Russell will take it in.
Wonderful kick chase. The communication there was outstanding. They read Roby well. Nakama almost beat the ball down there. That's so Latelli with a chance. He's gone out to that right-hand side. So as we said at the back of the first half, it looks like he's prepared to swap and probably go out and work with Sonny Bill from time to time, although maybe they're doubling up their centres out on the right side from time to time.
Ball with Macron, gets it forward. Here's Williams, offload again. It's not a good one. Ball knocked into touch, and Wallace just looks around in utter frustration here. Williams again with the offload, and again you'd have to say it's going down as another error.
Yeah, well, what are you going to say to him? You can't really tell him to reel it in. You got to trust somebody who's so experienced in both codes to have to make better decisions. And I'll say this, and I've got tremendous admiration for him as a player. I think he's phenomenal, and we're blessed to have him in the Super League. But that's a poor error. For a player of his experience, I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve there. I don't think his wingman would have been free to run anyway. And I think had somebody else made that error, we'd be a little bit more critical at times. And you got to call it as you see it sometimes. And a poor one from the great man.
I agree massively. You got to use the fact that you might offload to be able to power the ball forward. So fake the offload. So you've got a one-on-one defender. The winger goes out the wing and just drive it forward, particularly in your own half of the field, particularly when you're aside trying to get out of there. Don't force it.
Well, here comes St Helens driving forward. The Wolfpack doing yet more defending here as Roby looks around. He's going to his left-hand side. Jumps out, gets it to Farge. Farge short ball here to Tae. He offloads this time. Picked up by Lomax. Lomax 20 away. Feeds it to McCarthy Scarsbrook. Neat footwork from the big man. He gets it back now to Roby, and all of a sudden Toronto can't stop the flow of the ball here. 12 out from the line. McCarthy Scarsbrook jumps in at dummy half. He gets it away to Farge. Farge then comes back to the middle. Back to McCarthy Scarsbrook. Back now to Lomax. Lomax probing, stepping, inching his way forward. Stands up a defender, gets it to Wellesby. Wellesby ducks under the tackle, he's wrapped up.
See how they held that middle. That's what they had to do at the back end of the half, and they did it well.
Well, here's Farge, little dribble kick through. It's a good kick, but it's hacked dead by Kay. He couldn't afford to take any prisoners there. He had to make a decision, and he hacks the ball away. It's a tough skill, that, just dribbling the kick in. There were plenty of Saints chasing it, but Kay got the ball away to safety.
Better defensively from Toronto, but not the most fluid St Helens set we've seen in attack either. Now, I'm not sure the reasons for that. Maybe they're looking up and they're not being presented with the fractured line that they were in the first half, but you'd expect with Lomax and Farge on the field to have a little bit more cohesion in attack that they showed in that set.
One thing you noticed, Roby took a run. I think it was play 3, and then he wasn't a dummy half. They just got a little bit lost. They lost a bit of confidence in the play they were calling. So whilst it's great Roby is the dummy half now picking up the ball, well, he's proven he's been outstanding. You just need him serving down this end of the field.
Here's Peru, gets the ball to within 10. Ball will be played to Roby. Roby has a look again, gets it away to Farge. Farge gets it to line. Harlow tried to slip the pass away. It's picked up by Welsby off the floor, but McCrone will drag him to the surface. Roby, Saints will fancy a 4th try, and this one is done and dusted. I think McCrone is genuinely tangled up there, and the referee has given a penalty against Welsby there, and a penalty for the Wolfpack.
Watch Welsby's right leg at the end of this. This has gone on for too long for the referee in this particular tackle, but Jack Welsby uses his leg, I believe. Just keep an eye on his legs. As this develops around here, Josh McCrone works his way around. Welsby tries to trap him in with his leg. There we go. Right leg, I beg your pardon.
Good spot, Brian. Referee was on it as well. Penalty to the Wolfpack. They needed that. Gets them away from their own line. And the ball coming forward with Springer. He's wrapped up and pushed back. No score yet in the second half. It's tough going for the Wolfpack. And look at the teams they've played, and they'll be hoping that the fixture lists will get a little bit kinder. They go to Leeds on Thursday night. They face Huddersfield in the Cup, and then they face Wakefield and Huddersfield again. That game leads Toronto live on Sky Sports Arena on Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Brian McDermott returning to Leeds, where he had so much success. Is that the venue to get his first victory for Toronto?
That's a better carry
tonight, but there's a long way to go yet. And the ball knocked on by Springer. Wilkin looks at him, and it's those two again. Twice now they've not linked up. We had a bit of an inquest about it last time. Who are we blaming this time?
This is not a bad pass.
No,
that just has to be taken. That's a lack of concentration. It was such a pity. Sonny Bill repaired his error the time before. He took it forward, faked the offload, drove it for a good position. Wilkin was in a good position there. He loved the fact that he had momentum with Springer on his outside. And that's just a lapse in concentration. And they're the things when you're stepping up under pressure, they go on you.
Ball coming forward with St Helens then. Well, the Wolfpack have topped over 1,000 points in each of the last 3 years. It's going to be a tough ask this year in Super League, and they've conceded yet another penalty and more frustration.
It's almost hard to believe with the amount of penalties they've conceded, and possession and position they've coughed up, that they're still yet to concede in this second 40.
Ball here with Paulo. He's wrapped up by Wilkin. Andy Ackers. And quiet just for tonight. Ball dropped back on the angle for Dominic Peru. He sidesteps his way through one. Alderson will wrestle him to the ground inside the 20, but you wonder how long Toronto can keep coughing up penalties and possession as Farge goes forward, gets it away now to Welsby. Ball on the ground, it's gone forward, picked up by Williams. He wants to offload, he'll have to hang on. And you mentioned the trouble that Saints have been having in attack, and maybe again just another example of it there.
And it's coming back to the Toronto defence. What they're doing is locking up the inside. So they're taking away the inside option, which enables the outside defenders to hold their hips and be able to control the play. And it's looking a little bit more difficult for St Helens to see. I think in the first half we'd have seen a jump off the left foot and back towards the middle. It's not working this time.
I wonder whether I'd be reading too much into it to say it's also happening without Thompson and without Walmsley on the field. And that in itself could be an issue for St Helens. We saw their performance against Warrington and missing Walmsley in particular in that game.
A knock on from McCrone. The captain will be furious with that one. He got up on the 30-metre line, and he's just, well, there was a knee in there from Taya, but McCrone's got to look after the ball. It's his responsibility.
Yeah, well, if he's furious, he's every right to be. That's with what's gone against him in that first 11 minutes or so of the second half. That's, they need to get into a position where he's a bit better than that, getting up off the ground.
I'm just joining in.
Another chance here for St Helens to try and find their attacking gusto.
It's the shot clock off.
30 metres out then, a scrum play here. Roby waits at the back. He looks like he's going to get his hands on the ball. He is. He'll jump away, gets it to Welsby. Welsby running. Tackled by Latelli on the near side. 20 metres out. Roby will standing at dummy half again. Ball to Farge, short pass, good challenge from Wilkin. Trying to get off the line quick tonight, Wilkin against his former club. Over 400 St Helens appearances, and another ball on the ground, and another unforced St Helens error.
Yeah, it's they got up quickly on Matty Lees, and that's not the worst thing you could ever do, because if he gets a head of steam up, he's a handful. But a little bit of cohesion missing from St Helens' attack. Again, you could make excuses for them, but they're a better side than what they've shown us in this period of the second stanza.
Yeah, let's have a think about this set of 6 now, because Toronto have shown a lot of starch in defence. We've got to say that they're forcing errors by just changing their defensive pattern. They're making the efforts on the inside, the little efforts you need to make. Now they need some field possession. They need to get this man, guys like Ricky Latelli, down the other end of the field, attacking the edges that he wants to attack, putting Farge and those guys under pressure. We haven't seen that all game. We have not been down there all game, so let's see if they can get some field position.
Ball on the 40-metre line, then Russell has it. Been a night for the Wolfpack backs thus far. Albison drives it forward.
10 metres set, hold!
Ball coming forward here with Ackers. Wilkin will move it to McCrone. Now they've got some bodies on that touchline, but Wallace couldn't get the pass away. It's a great challenge there. Really good defensive effort by Regan Grace. He saw the danger and he closed it down instantly. McCrone scampers across to O'Brien, and this time Peru is on the danger and puts the man on the ground there. That was tough defending there, as the little chip over the top. It's a decent kick. It'll turn making some rounds, and making some will bring it forward. And that was a little bit more like it from the Wolfpack.
That's the default we were talking about. You need to be able to just, as a matter of course, revert to that particular type of set, and let the other stuff where you shifted left to right at will, let that be the sprinkling on top of the cake.
Yeah. We have seen a change. Aaron Smith is out there now for James Roby. Another 50-odd minutes under his belt. Will be happy with that, Christian Wolf, as they go down the short side. Smith has been subbing all 4 appearances this season. Gets the ball away to McCarthy Scarsbrook. He had the offload, and Farge was there on the inside shoulder but couldn't get the pass away. They may go this time. Lomax and a chip over the top. Kay with work to do. He'll pick it up, but he's going to get trapped and cannot get out. And again, that short-range kicking game from St Helens is asking all the questions at the moment.
It's exactly where you want the ball to go. You're going to do those short little dinks in behind. You want it landing about the middle of the in goal. So you can either dive and get the chase or force the defender into a decision, which Kay is. That's perfectly timed. It's a wonderful kick from Farge. It's built some beautiful pressure. And now there's a real big question on the Toronto defence.
I think Louis McCarthy could probably ask a question of his teammates. He got that ball free, and he was waiting there for what seemed like a long enough time for somebody to be up in support.
Well, they went short. Nagama was waiting. He gets it 10 metres out from the line. So Smith with a good starting position here for St Helens. No points yet in the second half. Paulo goes forward again. Wilkin again round the legs, makes the tackle. Alderson's worked hard in his spell on the field, but there's more hard work to do here for Saints. On the attack again, short pass, there is McCarthy Scarsbrook, who reaches out and plants the ball underneath the post. A strong carry from McCarthy Scarsbrook. It's his second try of the season, and there was no stopping him from that range.
He reached out to score, and I wondered, did he reach out to collect the ball? Do any of you guys have a question mark against? I know it's a try's being awarded, but to me, it looked at first glance, it might have been a bit forward. He does steam onto the ball, there's no doubt about that. Almost got his arms free in the previous set.
It's a lovely line, isn't it? Changes his acceleration as he got to the line. Let's see if your eyes are working, your tight eyes again this time, Brian. Have you spotted something? You saw the leg before, you're a mile off.
No, it's so hard. I know it's so hard to tell, but just
what were you looking at?
First glance.
Beautiful play by McCarthy Scarsbrook. He really did hit that hole hard, and all the tries have been about that. Cutting back on the inside with acceleration, little jink in wet weather.
Okay.
Gets your points.
That's a minute, Tom.
Also scored in the Super League last time out at Hull FC, and he's over again, and there was a great determination about him to get his name on the score sheet tonight. And Tommy Makinson, well, he'll be the happiest man at Halliwell Jones. All his kicks have been right in front of the post, and he makes another one. 26 points to nil. We had to wait a while for the first points, Tony, but they came, and it was a real determined charge, wasn't it?
It was a determined charge. The pass came from Faj, and he was the man that created it with a beautifully timed kick into the in goal, which created a repeat set. From there, Saints sensed that this was their moment. They still had to hit the line hard, as McCarthy Scarsbrook did. Wonderful bit of play. A little bit too much to handle.
Just being told by our colleagues down at pitch side that James Bentley is back out in the dugout. He's got a boot on that ankle. So hopefully when we get the news in the next few days, it won't be as bad as I think a few people are fearing at the moment. Bentley, who appeared at centre tonight, scored a try in the first half as well, but went off with that nasty-looking injury problem. Ball with Makinson, fell into the challenge of Maludi. Maludi, who's off the bench.
Tommy's been a bit quiet. Tremendous man at returning the ball. Acrobatically finishes as good as anybody in Super League. And his goal kicking aside, I can't remember too many efforts from the backfield. Maybe that's because of the way the game's gone.
Well, you mentioned returning kicks. He's not had any to return,
No,
has
that's
he?
a fair point. You're right, they haven't got to the kick. And
to that point, Brian, Regan Grace, have we seen much of him in the game? So both wingers have been holding shape. It's just not been the night for them. And fair play to the St Helens pack. We mentioned him a couple of times. The middle guys have worked really hard and worked very well in this game. That one not so well timed for Faj. He won't be as happy as he was with the last one, as we can see.
I think there was a little bit of confusion, though. They allowed it to bounce. Shigo again will be a little bit disappointed with that. Ball coming forward here with Russell. Russell carries it forwards.
All the way out and wait. Go. One.
Here now comes Kay. And Kay and Russell normally so integral to Toronto getting some go forward, and they too have been quiet tonight.
they have, yeah, you're absolutely right. To start sets, I should say, as Russell and Kay do a great job for the Wolfpack. Hasn't been it tonight. So the scoreline hasn't blown out in the way I thought it would do after the start St Helens had to the game. Just wonder what a try for Toronto would do to spark them, to give them a bit of hope and a bit of encouragement.
Well, they're behind 26 points to nil, but they're coming forward. This has probably been their best set of the match. Now they swing it wide. Can they put it through hands? O'Brien is wrapped up on the last one. And he now will play the ball. Maludi gets it away. Bodine Thompson will put the kick in. It bounces off a Saints player, but Makinson Brave was down. The boots were flying, but there was Tommy Makinson.
Right, brilliantly put his body in between the ball and the attacking player for Toronto. Just see Tommy assesses it really quickly, straight down, and you're right, it's a brave play.
Yep, here he is again, carrying it forward. 20 minutes to go then in this one. St Helens leading. A couple more tries would lift them up a couple more places in the Super League ladder, and I know it's early days yet, but it never does any harm to be as near as the top as you can be, whatever the point of the season. Ball here with Zeb Taylor, just quietly has been efficient again tonight for Saints. Smith at dummy half, and Christian Wolf will be delighted, won't he, Brian, that he's been able to get some more game time into James Roby again.
Yeah, well, that's coming back from an operation, made the World Club Challenge, which was a big boost for St Helens team and the St Helens supporters, and he's been able to get him in, and every minute that Aaron Smith gets on the field, while he's still playing in a team that James Roby's influence is going to benefit Aaron Smith later in his career. You don't want to just Roby to drop off and retire, and suddenly you try and parachute Aaron Smith in to fill that role.
And of course Bentley, who filled in for Roby initially, now he could be out, then Smith could become even more important.
Absolutely, and Bentley did a great job at doing that.
He did. What a stoppage in play here. There's a Wolfpack player down injured. Sergigo, who's got some blood there in his mouth. He's not had the most enjoyable week 2 of his trial, Tony. I think it's fair to say that.
Well, fair play to him. He's playing for nothing. He's come over, given himself a chance. He just collides head there. It's a nasty collision with the face directly into Faj there. But having said that, you know, you're euphoric game 1, you come out, you're pumped, you're full of energy. Game 2, really wet, really cold, bouncy ball. You know, even training can tire you out when you're not used to training at the level and you come back. But he just has to work to be strong at that, Tony Gigo. He needs to, one thing he needs to understand is his responses and how important they are as a playmaker. A couple of times he just hasn't responded nicely to errors. And
physically demanding position as well, aerobically demanding, playing a fullback. You know, you can get stretched by an opposition side kicking either side, and Tony Gigo will have had questions asked today.
that'd be probably a HIA assessment there going off and checking with the doctor, I'd have thought.
Yeah, it was a nasty clash, that, wasn't it?
Well done by the referee to note that and stop play and just check that he was in good position.
Yeah. Maybe Blake Wallace to full-back. You know, he started the season there. We'll just try and assess what they've done.
Yeah, the ball brought forward by Jack Wells, who's on for the Wolfpack, the Wigan loanee. Not played in the Super League for a long time. His last appearance was actually against St Helens back in 2017, so he's not played here for quite a while. Toronto, though, have won a penalty here, earned a penalty. As the ball was taken in by Wilkin. Some of his former teammates there getting stuck into him.
The penalty was for the high shot from McCarthy Scarsbrook. He did slip over the top. It wasn't vicious, but it was high and it deserves a penalty.
Yeah, well, at least getting further down the field, the Wolfpack, small crumbs of comfort for them, but they'll want to put some points on the board. They've never been nilled in their history. As they come forward, and it's their 93rd game. Ian Proctor tells me 93rd game yet to be nilled. They won't want that against their name here tonight. 18 minutes to go. As Wilkin goes forward, gets it away now to Macron, and again the fluency's not quite there. Here's O'Brien, wants to turn it back for Latelli. Latelli looking for a lazy defender, offloads back to Macron. Macron kicks ahead here. There could be room in behind the line, but the kick's too near Wellsby. On his own line, he'll pick it up, and Kay will make the tackle eventually. 10 metres out. Wellsby's done really well there to get out of the goal.
I thought he left himself a bit too upright at the start, Mark. I thought he was vulnerable to being caught and pushed back over the line, but he had the strength to push through the tackle. You'd be encouraging somebody to get down maybe and concede on that, not risk the chance that the opposition would push into the in-goal area, but got away with it in the end. I think they've probably put Maludi into full-back. I'm just trying to work that out now with Blake Wallace gone to the right centre position.
Well, the offload there was from Saints that didn't go to hand, and now Toronto have got a set here. Can they put some pressure on? 17 left. Ball now going upfield with Sidlow. Sidlow to within 22 metres of the line. They have improved second half, but the first half standard wasn't the greatest, was it, by their own admission, I'm sure, as Thompson, who's been solid in defence, gets a run with the ball. He's wrapped up, and Maloney will jump in at dummy half. What's he going to do? He's going to have a run himself, then he'll turn the ball back to Thompson again. Thompson thinking about kicking, and he will kick early in the tackle count, and I'm sure Brian McDermott will not be happy with that. They need to go and put pressure on Lomax. Well, when you've not had the ball down that end of the field, to be kicking after 3 tackles is madness, isn't it?
I'm just wondering who's in charge out there. I've got a pretty good idea that John Wilkin will be one of the dominant voices out there. And I think you need to see a little bit more control from the people that are selected in the halves, Gareth O'Brien and Josh McCrone. And if you can get them dominating a game and somebody with John Wilkin's ball-playing ability to step up and add a little bit of extra to that, I think that's the perfect combination. But I think probably too much of this game has gone through John Wilkin, perhaps verbally, but certainly physically.
The kick downfield, not the best, and Russell, who was backtracking, has picked it up on the halfway line. So again here, Tony, a chance for Toronto. They're getting more field position. They need to start doing something with it.
They do. Here's a nice line. There's a nice line there from Liam Kay, but the pass has gone down. Another error. St Helens on the flip side. We've got to talk about them. They're looking a little bit sloppy. That's sort of another knock on. They've gone back to the original knock on by Toronto here, so it'll be a St Helens ball. St Helens also need, since Roby's been off, they just need to get a little bit more energy out of dummy half. They need to get themselves pushing forward, a little bit more fluency. Liam Kay's had an untidy night, it must be said, so all these guys are going to have to go back and have a regroup in themselves by eliminating their own individual errors.
26 points to 0 then St Helens lead. Double for Lomax in the first half. James Bentley crossed as well. It's 20 points to 0 at the break. And McCarthy Scarsbrook with the only try so far of the second half. Let's see Saints leading comfortably here. Now, one more point, you feel. St Wolf will be keeping the highest of standards with the champions. Looking to go back-to-back. Long way to go, a lot of water to go under the bridge just yet. Now that's a penalty for a high tackle here, and Wells has been dragged away, the Wigan man. I mean, all have lost between him and St Helens, and the penalty has gone against him. And a bit of pushing and shoving, and much ado about nothing, really.
Yeah, probably a bit of frustration there from both sets of side, both sets of players. Oh, pretty solid contact there. I think Bodine Thompson on Matty Lees.
Yeah, it wasn't
Wells.
Wells.
Do you know what?
A fair tackle,
do you know what?
he?
There could be some trouble here for Bodine Thompson. That may be considered a shoulder charge that makes direct contact with the head. The more I see that.
Well, the referee has got a decision to make here.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting, the fourth official, video ref having a word with him, and the more you look at it, Brian, the worse it gets.
Mark, that will earn a red card, I think.
Well, here comes the decision. Contact with the head, and the red card is out. And Toronto, who are down on troops as it is, there may be one less for the visit to Leeds next week. Bodine Thompson shown the red card.
Yes,
well, it didn't look pretty, and it did make contact with the head. Here he is late, and you see the head rock back.
That's all. Okay.
Well, it's a red card.
There's not been a swinging out of the head.
Marcus Griffiths, the referee, has shown the red card. Your thoughts on that, Tony Ray?
I think you've got to defend that. You've got a player who's in an indefensible position, and it wasn't a tackle. It was a shoulder. It was to the head. If you don't go for that, I'll be worried about what message they'd be sending out through the game.
Yeah, well,
I don't think they can have a problem with that.
It is a red card, and it's getting from bad to worse for Brian McDermott's side. On the hand of a kneeling at the moment. They're a man down to 12 for the remainder of this one. 13 minutes to go. Saints looking for a second try this second half.
Move on and get out now.
Will be played just a couple of metres away. Here's Smith trying to pinch a try, and he's in! Aaron Smith weaves his way over from close range. And a bad night for the Wolfpack is getting worse. Smith dives in from close range. Saints have their fifth try of the night. They lead Toronto by 30 points to 0.
Well, the man who he's replaced partway during this game, James Roby, went very close in the first half. Smith has shown him how to do it. Twirling his way over, run from dummy half. He's got up, surveyed it, and went straight at his former teammate, John Wilkin. A couple of bodies had a good look at Smith. He's had the strength to plough over underneath the posts. It'll be a routine conversion for Tommy Makinson. And I think the lack of fluency we've seen from St Helens in attack in the second half, it's perhaps no surprise that the second score that they get comes from the relatively simple position of dummy half.
Yeah, it's a good point. It was just, again, it's another try that's gone through the middle of Toronto. So they can't be happy with that. We're wanting to make them come up with a nice edge play or a missed defensive read or work a little bit harder than that. You're right, it's just become an effort area. From your point from St Helens' stable, you're thinking you're not seeing that. You're seeing an effort try rather than a well-constructed one.
As a former coach, were they the ones that got you the most tries conceded from dummy half?
Absolutely, and that was 5 players, mate. And 5 good players, 5 noticeable players who should be there. Wilkin was one, Sonny Bill was one, Josh McCrone, the captain, was one. He's gone through all those. We've got a young player from the opposition surging past your senior players. You can see Wilkin there. There's the send-off. So the heads were probably spinning a bit at that point. Then we see Sonny Bill there, McCrone coming in, Wilkins in front of him. So, all those big-name players, they need to be in there seizing that moment. However, it turned into this man's moment.
Yeah, Makinson with a goal, 32 points to 0. Toronto on this ground had Andrew Dixon sent off in a big cup defeat to Warrington in 2018. They also had 3 put in the bin, so it's not their happiest hunting ground disciplinary-wise. And Brian McDermott will be hoping that Thompson is not out too long. Makinson, he hasn't had much to do, but what he's done it well, and the mark of a good player.
And he's cleared out his own man as he climbed highest to retrieve that kickoff.
If you're going to get the ball, and he did.
I think there's a motivation for St Helens in this game. They're clearly going to win with just 10 minutes left on the clock, Mark, and I think that's to finish it neatly. They've been untidy in the second half, and probably parts of that first 40 minutes. There would definitely be a challenge, and I don't know that he's going to send out the big troops. Walmsley and Thompson have probably had their run for the day, so it'll be the likes of Matty Lees and Joseph Paulo and Dominic Peru, they're going to be expected to bring this game home, but bring it in a certain manner.
Well, there were 31 points difference behind Leeds, who won last night. As it stands, Saints are going second behind Castleford, unless the Wolfpack can avoid their first nilling as Maludi brings the ball away well from his own line. Macron jumps in at dummy half. Here's Russell. He's wrapped up. Farge makes the tackle. It's been a tough night for Toronto. It will be 5 without a win, which of course is a club record for them. It's been a tough start to life in the Super League, but they'll be hoping it will get easier in the next few weeks. But Saints defensively will be hoping to keep them out. And Leeds, who nilled Warrington last week, they await next week. Brian McDermott going back to Headingley in the Betfred Super League live Thursday night from 7. And on Friday, Warrington, who were humiliated last night, take on Castleford, who are top of the pile at the moment. That's Friday, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena. Tough set for the Wolfpack, ends with a kick downfield. It's not the worst kick in the world. Makinson again will bring it back. And he's keen for work. He runs across the field and he's wrapped up 30 metres off his own line.
Still going.
It has been a tough start, Brian. They've had, fixture-wise, they have had it tough. Obviously playing all their games, in effect, away from home at the minute. But things will get easier.
Well, they will, if the side does continue to improve. Now, we anticipate improvement on players as the season goes on, but it's not a guarantee, Mark. There's no given. And I think it's been a really sloppy performance by Toronto. It's really, I've been disappointed with them tonight. I didn't expect them to win this game, but I expected them to be a lot tighter in the way they've played it. Saints, this isn't by any means a vintage St. Helens performance, but it's been a game that's been ugly at times, Mark, and Toronto have played a large part in contributing to that.
They have. Here comes Saints, so Lomax looking for the hat-trick, moves the ball out wide, and it was nearer to the touch judge than it was Regan Grace. And the ball slips over the sideline. Just signs they haven't been, as Brian said there, anywhere near their best, Tony, and they are going to improve significantly. We know that. How hard is it when you're winning so easy to maintain those high standards?
Well, it shouldn't be too difficult in that position. It would actually, to be fair to Theo Farge, has had a good night. It'd be harder not. Sorry, Lomax that was. It'd be harder to not score than to score that. To score, you know, he's made a mess of that one because the concentration dips out. Your intensity goes away. You're not executing exactly how you would be if it was a tight game under pressure against the big boys. But that's the lessons Wolf wants out of there. And he's backed it up with a penalty here.
Yeah, frustration for Toronto. Christian Wolf will be happy. The side were nilled a few weeks ago here, but Saints in the last 2.5 seasons just in Holbrook have nilled 4 teams in the Super League. Wolfpack coming forward, 7 minutes left. Can they register some points as Wells drives it forward? He gets it away. Now here goes Sidlow. Sidlow, the veteran, over 300 career games for him now. Wilkin moves it wide to Macron. Macron will find Wallace. Wallace is, as we mentioned before, had a tough evening in the centres. Only his second ever appearance for the Wolfpack in the centre. There's plenty of versatility, but ball comes back here now to Sidlow. Turns, he was looking to offload in a 3-man tackle, but he couldn't get the pass away. And 2 tackles left in the set. Here's Andy Ackers, will scoot away from dummy half, gets the ball away to Wells. Wells driving forward. Wells wrapped up. He will now play the ball on the last one. Here's O'Brien, little grubber kick through. It should be picked up by Wellesby, and is picked up by Wellesby. He juggled it, just about held on to that one, just about.
Yeah, you almost picture it coming out of his hands. Did well in the end. You know what? As these defeats, we see the replay of him here, sweeping up in the right position. Gareth O'Brien unable to enforce an error. As they go on searching for this first win, teams will prepare harder, Mark. No team wants to be the first side to lose to Toronto Wolfpack. Now, that nobody will take them for granted, even if they keep piling up these losses. Now, this will be the 5th consecutive loss. They'll go into Leeds next week, and Leeds will be prepared for a side that is going to beat somebody. This is what they say, they're going to beat somebody this year. So
Leeds will be rubbing their hands together, though, after the way they played last night.
Now, weren't they good?
They were excellent.
They were as good as Warrington were bad, and they were bad.
Yeah, they were. Luke Gale, I think, is winning over his new fans at Headingley. It's Kevin DeGarma, just got a bang on the ear here.
Just get your nose like for you. Just get your nose like.
He's getting a little bit of treatment here.
Time back on. Play the ball.
Play the ball. He's all right. Ball come forward with Thompson, who's back out there. He will drive the ball forward. He's put to ground in a three-man challenge.
Go. 4.
Play the ball. Here goes Paulo. He started on the grand final last season. Paulo, disappointment for him.
Release. 5.
Going to prove under Christian Wolf, should Saints get there again, that he will be in the 17. As Farge will kick downfield. In behind Russell, Maloudi's there. Maaloudi has got his socks rolled. He has got his socks rolled down, hasn't he? And he's just knocked on. He's knocked the ball on. It's just another unforced error.
Referee signal that it went backwards, frantically actually. Just watch. I think the referee might come into the shot. Watch the referee.
Well, he said initially it went backwards, but it's touched it clearly on the near side. He's had a word with him. And Maaloudi frustrated, but too many of those errors tonight, chaps, from Toronto. Unforced errors that, you know, that's not a skill thing, is it? That's just a concentration thing, isn't it?
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, absolutely so. And as you said, there's been too many of them. I think it's the right call from the referee, the near side touch. You could look at, he's suggesting he was facing his own goal line. He had no control.
Still up.
Well, Toronto have turned it over again, and Saints will look to add another try to their collection tonight here at the Halliwell Jones. A couple of metres off the line they are. Smith waits at dummy half. He's already pinched one. He swings the ball away to Lomax. Lomax taking on the line. He's wrapped up. 2 tries early on in the first half for him. Ball now works its way in the middle. Here they go again, and Thompson is over. The referee wants to have a look at this one upstairs, but Thompson, who scored last week, has powered his way in.
He's looking for obstruction, Mark, but first glance, I thought it was a try. It wasn't the best of St. Helens' attack. Not that they'll worry if he gets over it. Matty Lee's obstructed Hakim Maaloudi. To get an indication of how close Maaloudi was to Thompson and whether or not he was capable of making it. Oh, tell you what,
you called try on the field, didn't he?
You'd argue that Hakim Maaloudi was impeded there by Matty Lees.
Well, this is an interesting one. Thompson had got over the line last week.
I think if he doesn't get impeded, he goes and makes that tackle.
This is the angle.
The man with the white socks, just watch him now, black shirt, white socks, just gets impeded there in the elbow up, stopped him, blocked him.
Yep.
Okay, so he goes and makes that tackle. So it's a fair case. You can see what the referee sensed when he set it up. Let's see.
No try.
So awarded. It will be a penalty to Toronto. Look, Thompson will be frustrated. I think he would have fancied running over Maaloudi that close to the line.
Well done, Marcus Griffiths. You get carried away and you think it's an easy one. Thompson, try, blow the whistle. No, he spotted the obstruction. Well done.
And,
keep coming, guys. Keep
Luke
coming.
Thompson, I'm told by a proctor, has been denied tries in 3 successive games now. He must feel the referees are against him, but
he's
that was unlucky.
He's not denied a whole lot else.
He's got to stop running behind his own players, hasn't he? He wants to go and score tries.
It's a fair point, Tony. 3.5 minutes left. 32 points to 0. St Helens lead. As it stands, they're going second in the Super League. Some big games tomorrow in the Super League as well.
That's fine.
Unbeaten Huddersfield take on Wigan.
Move that in.
Ball just over the halfway line. Sidlow here's picked up a knock.
Tackle free.
And Lee's quick to jump off his opponent, and this could be a night going from bad to worse. And he's just holding his head here, Adam Sidlow. He's in a lot of discomfort
here. He does,
here.
doesn't he? He's really kicking his leg there. Something's really hurt him there.
Nothing I can do about
See
it.
if we can see what that is. Oh, there it is, yeah. It's accidental. There's a bit of a crush on the back of his neck here from Smith as he goes down, just there.
Will have hurt. Let's hope he's all right, Adam Sidlow. Well, he's trying to get up now.
Yeah, that's what I've got.
So he's sitting up. It's always a tough one, isn't it, that, Brian? Because of the speed that it happens.
Well, that's right. That's right. You got defenders trying to move one way. You got attackers trying to move another way. You know, the match review panel will look at all these things. They look at every single tackle to see if there's anything untoward in it. So, you know, we'd have to trust that they will go through the due process
It's terrific news. He's got to his feet. The trainer gave the thumbs up. So he would have been frightened a bit there. You know, you feel your head going in that position.
Absolutely, yeah. My first glance was that there was no malice in that tackle.
O'Brien has put the ball on the floor. It's been a tough night for the Wolfpack. And you look at things, and I know they've not been great run. They've spilled a lot of ball, but you know, you look at Wallace in the centre, O'Brien at half. We've not seen the best of either of them, have we, in their new positions?
No, well, when you go with a small squad, Mark, you're going to have to try and make things up as you go along and shift people into different positions. And
Still 0.
they made a recruitment decisions, I should say, and
0.
they're not perhaps in that unsurprising situation.
Yeah. Well, they've got the ball back because Saints knocked it on as McCrone jumps down the short side. Here's Liam Kay, barges his way over the halfway line. There is still time for Toronto to avoid that nil-in. It would be the first in their history. As they move the ball with Sidlow, had a bit of a juggle. Ball goes backwards. Play on, says the referee. Latelli pops it up.
Is this free now, yeah?
Well, they're struggling at the moment as they await their first win. We saw London, who were promoted last year, had 2 wins by this stage. And a knock-on here, and it's just been a night of utter frustration all round for the Wolfpack.
But there's one thing they've done, they've stuck to their plan. You question whether to go wide and move the ball around with it, but they haven't quit on each other. Williams gets penalised here for not playing it correctly, for dropping it in the tackle. He's saying there's hands all over him, but we said a couple of times you've got to be concentrating in control of that.
Thank you.
It's a response now, but they've actually stuck to their guns. They really believe in what they're doing. They know they're a small squad. They're working hard together. Got a man sent off. They've had a lot of adversity. What have we said? 30 times now. It's been way too many errors. Way too many errors. But they have stuck with each other out there.
Move!
Well, we'll see them again on Thursday when they go to Leeds at Headingley. Ball coming forward with St Helens again. Is the time for one more try for them. They've wrapped up the points pretty easily here. Lomax's early tries really had them on the front foot in the opening quarter of the game. Here now is Wellsby to the line, moves it to Nagama, chance for running room. Nagama, he's got Makinson inside him, he turned it back, it went backwards. Makinson will run across the field, he's trying to outrun the defenders and he's doing a good job as Sidlow can't get hold of him. And now here goes Zebtea, turns it back, Makinson on the inside, he's not tackled yet, he is now. Williams all over him, and Williams is having a bit of a tangle with Knowles.
I've got a penalty against Williams, yeah.
Williams just looks down on Morgan Knowles as if to say, what do you think you're doing, young man?
I like it, Morgan Knowles.
Let's start moving, guys.
Maybe he's late to what something Bill's achieved in his career.
Right, fine.
Look him up online.
Oh, Morgan's caused it. It's a penalty.
I like that from Morgan Knowles. He's part of this ferocious pack. And they got Matty Lees to step in. You know, they lose Luke Thompson. Matty Lees, phenomenal front rower. Morgan Knowles would have gone on a Great Britain tour. No doubt about that, representing Wales. Bar that shoulder surgery. Phenomenal player.
Another error this time from the Wolfpack. This time it went backwards. They will get another couple of tackles here. All coming forward here with Wells, the Wigan loanee. Sure we'll see a bit more of him over the next few weeks in Toronto colours. Ball with McCrone, short pass to Williams. Here's Wallace. Wallace trying to offload, he's wrapped up. And that should be it. St Helens going second in the table. Well, we came wondering if we were going to get a bit of history and a first Super League win for the Wolfpack. Well, we got a bit of history. It's their first nilling as a rugby league team. The Wolfpack have been well beaten here. Tries for Lomax, a double in the first half, and Bentley had them 20 points to 0 up at the break before McCarthy, Scarsbrook and Smith in the second half. McCrone disappointed with his night tonight, and look, they were pretty ordinary at times, Toronto. They will be better than that, I'm sure, in future weeks, but a frustrating night all round for the Wolfpack.
It's a frustrating night, a learning night for them. They're always going to have to take lessons out of this game. They're playing against the champions, as we said, who showed up at full strength, ready to take them on. And they really now know the gap that they need to fill in. And a lot of it's about control. It's about never switching off. They've let 5 tries in, and most of them they could have saved a little bit more effort. That's what they'll go back to think about as much as they're out of the contest. It's just switching off a little bit on the inside, just that last little bit of concentration that's hurt them. That's the lesson you learn.
Right, let's get down to pitch side. Jenna Brooks is with our man of the match.
Thanks very much, Mark. Johnny Lomax, congratulations. 4 games in, you've been man of the match on 3 occasions. Well done tonight. Your coach asked for a response after last week, and respond you did.
Yeah, obviously it was about us getting the 2 points today, putting in a professional performance, not feeling sorry for ourselves after last week. I think for the most part the performance last week was a good performance. Give us a lot of confidence leading into this week and give us a few things to work on and build towards. And I think looking back to last week, it wasn't all doom and gloom. Obviously it'd have been nice to get the win and get the silverware, but it was something for us to build on, and it was something we took a lot of pride out of.
In these conditions, what was the most pleasing aspect of that win?
Yeah, probably, like I say, getting the 2 points. You know, that's what it's about at the end of the day. We knew it wasn't going to be pretty in the warm-up. The conditions pretty much dictated that. It was about trying to get through the sets for us, and you know, take it to a bit of a battle of attrition, and hopefully we get the rewards off the back of that. And in the end, we did. And obviously, yeah, the conditions were bad. I was shivering a bit at half time, so yeah, you had to get back moving again. Well, yeah, the conditions were definitely testing.
Johnny Lomax, congratulations on a man of the match performance. Well done.
Cheers, thank you.
We'll bring in your teammate, Tommy Makinson. Tommy, Johnny was just talking about these conditions. I did see you at halftime coming out of the tunnel shaking. It's freezing down here, isn't it?
Yeah, I reckon that's one of the coldest I've been there. Yeah, but like Johnny said, you just got to battle it out in these conditions and get to the end of your sets, and you know, we've got some good players who can, you know, make the most of that. How
important was it to lift this week after the disappointing World Club Challenge defeat last week?
Yeah, it's a good statement by us. It's a great win in, like you said, difficult conditions. And last week, you know, we played okay, but we just missed some crucial chances, and that just came down to a bit of rustiness and not executing. But yeah, I thought today we had a real good game and executed everything well.
What do you think will be your coach, Christian Wolf's most, what do you think he'll be happiest with?
I think just a win. You know, the 2 points in these, you know, keep babbling on about the conditions, but you just take 2 points and you go to the next week. So we're happy with how we completed. I think we're pretty high and stuck to the plan he gave us, and everything's going well.
Well, congratulations on the win, Tommy.
Thank you.
Go and get warm.
Cheers, thank you.
We'll bring in John Wilkin now. John, first time in the club's history that you were nilled. What went wrong?
I think, was that a start? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we've been playing against semi-professional players, to be fair, Jenna. So, you know, that's quite common sense to be, I think, nilled by such a great defensive team like St Helens. There's no shame in that. But it was a shame how we attacked. That was our problem. You know, we just couldn't get going with the ball. And credit to St Helens, they just played a different intensity to us. But look, we're learning the misconception that I don't know what people expected of us this year, but we've just got a lot of learning to do. We'll get better, you know.
When you look at the 5 teams that you've taken on so far this season, all 5 were in the playoffs. I mean, it has to get easier from here, doesn't it?
No, not really. There's no easy games in this league. You know, I played for St Helens for 17 years, and you never took anything for granted. There's no easy games in Super League. They're all pretty tough, and none tougher than these guys tonight. You know, they've been the best side in Super League for the last 3 years, and you can see why.
John Wilkin, thanks for talking to us.
No worries, Jenna. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks to Jenna there at pitchside. A tough night for the Wolfpack then. Let's hear all about it with Brian Carney.
Yeah, they came out 20-0 down at half-time. No score for the first 15 minutes. Louis McCarthy, Scarisburg showing a lot of endeavour. Gets his hands free, doesn't get the offload away, but he was going to have a big part to play not long after that as St Helens forced a dropout. 20-0 at this stage, that became 26-0 as Louis charged onto a short ball from Theo Fage. Stretched out, he goes over. Not much of the Toronto Wolfpack defence could do about it. Difficult man to stop, and the way they were defending tonight, that was never going to happen. Then a contentious issue, well, perhaps not contentious, but Brian McDermott will certainly want to have a word with Bodine Thompson. Matty Lees runs the ball in, tackled up and wrapped up by a few players. Bodine Thompson leads with his shoulder, looks to make direct contact with the head of Matty Lees. Referee, in consultation with the video referee, decides you're off the field. That was on the 66th minute. Bodine Thompson looked a little incredulous, but I'm not sure what he could have an issue with. Aaron Smith on for James Roby, twists and turns and goes through some pretty significant defenders to score underneath the post for St Helens. That's their final score.
Yeah, Toronto 0, St Helens 32. Thompson sent off, Lomax with a double, Bentley, McCarthy, Scarisbrook and Smith with the tries. Makinson was 6 from 6 with the boot. St Helens on the rise up the Super League table then.